Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dest. I'll do it again. English is the first language.
That's all right.
Perfect.
You use the Translate app to figure it out later.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Desk to Destination. I'm Paul Thurrott, and I am here as always with.
Stephen Rose, good to see you, everybody. This episode, we're going to talk about Translate apps.
Mhm.
We talked in our first episode. I've been to a lot of countries, and we're talking back in 2009, 2010, before cell phones were big, when you really couldn't use them overseas, when it would cost you $1
Yes.
bazillion to turn it on. You didn't have Translate apps. You had to bring those little books with you, and
Mhm.
you were going to and it was not a good way to do it. And you just would learn, "Hi, do you speak English?" I remember the night that Barack Obama became president the
Mhm.
first time. I was in Spain and remember trying in my horrible 15-word Spanish, having a
Yep.
conversation with this guy about how happy he was and trying to share it with him. And it was a genuine moment, but something I wouldn't worry about as much. They'd be much easier because of Translate apps. So
Yeah.
I'll start with you.
Okay.
You are not a fluent Spanish speaker.
Nope.
Stephanie is much better at Spanish than you are.
Okay.
And that's
Yes.
fine. It's good to have at least one person that speaks it well. But
Well, we're
there are
both
times,
learning. We're both learning.
yeah. But there are
Mhm.
times you go out by yourself, and
Yep.
we'll talk about currency exchange apps and things like that in other episodes.
Mhm.
But what do you use, and what has been some great ways that you've used a
Yeah.
translate app?
So we just use Google Translate, right? It's kind of the classic. But the biggest benefit to me, to us, has been out in the world. We were driving to Xochimilco. This came up in a previous episode, about 45 minutes away. So it's a long Uber ride. Then you're going to be there doing your thing, but then you have to get back, right?
Right.
And so the man driving the Uber in Spanish, I knew enough. I thought what he was asking was, "Do you want me? If you want, I will stay and wait for you, and then I'll drive you back." And my understanding was that if that's what he meant, that in other words, whatever the cost of this trip was going to be, it would mostly go to Uber. But whatever that amount was, we would pay him and he would just keep all of it for the way home. And that's absolutely fine for us. So we brought out the app and there's a conversation mode where you hold the
Right.
phone between you and you both speak in your native language. And that was indeed exactly what he was saying. And he did this. And it made sense for him, financially to wait for the hour or two we were gone and then drive us back, and it worked great. And we use the same feature here. We have this apartment here, so someone will come to do work on the apartment, fix something that's broken, whatever it might be. They're going to be native Spanish speakers. A lot of them don't speak English, perfectly understandable. And we're also talking about things that are unusual to us as English speakers in Spanish. In other words, when you come here as a tourist, if you know the basics of any language, whatever, you can expect that when you're in a restaurant, they're going to ask you if you'd like something to drink. They're going to ask, the
Right.
questions are predictable. When you're talking about why is the back of the refrigerator freezing for some reason, there's a lot of words that we just have never encountered. So
Or you don't use often. Yeah.
yeah, so you have this thing, and we've done this multiple times. It's astonishing how well this works.
I think something else important, and this is something I learned early as a traveler, is if you make the effort to try to speak their language or use
Oh yeah,
an app to do it,
yep,
people are much happier and respect the fact that you're not just speaking English slower and louder to them when they don't
that's right.
understand it, that you are making the effort. And if they do speak some English, they will often do it at that point rather than saying, "Do you speak English?"
I
Um,
honestly,
and
when you
from a
lead that
respect
way,
standpoint, it's huge. Yeah.
depending on where you are, France might be the exception, but depending on where you are, and certainly in Mexico, you
Right.
will get some sort of apology up front where they say, "I'm so sorry. I don't speak much English, but I will try."
Right.
And then they speak fluent English. And I
They
would give
speak better
anything
English
to be
than
able to
some
speak
other people
Spanish
I
to
know.
that level. Yes, it's
Right.
astonishing, and
Yeah.
they're always so nice about it.
Now, what platform is your phone on? You're on Android, right?
I go back and forth. So actually, right now I'm using an iPhone, but I still use Google Translate. Typically, Apple has their own Translate app as well. It's
Right.
fine. This trip I'm actually experimenting with Apple Maps. For example, I always use Google Maps. I think most people probably do, but it's possible that there are Apple users should just stick to whatever's on their phone or
Yeah.
Apple
Well,
stuff is
the
fine.
thing about Apple Maps that I like is when I'm
Mhm.
trying to walk somewhere and I have my Apple Watch, it'll give me the
Yeah,
directions on my watch. I don't have to keep pulling out my phone, and
that's
I can just look
yeah,
and go turn right, turn
and
left.
it's gotten a lot better, right? I mean, it just
Yeah,
has. I
and it's a
mean,
little more safe because 'cause I'm not pulling out my phone constantly and staring at it. I'm just letting my
yeah.
watch, and if I have earbuds in, it'll actually tell me where to go. So, yeah,
If
there are
you're
some
in
benefits.
uh, in a place like Mexico or a lot of Europe, if it's a different language, you can look at signs, and a lot of the times you can kind of muddle through what it is they're saying. If you're in
Right.
Asia and you're coming there from here,
Oh god, yeah.
you can't help. So,
No.
Apple Translate, I'm sure Google does.
Dude,
You
I
hold the
went to
phone up.
Finland before I had any of these apps. Talk
Oh,
about a
it's just
language, Yakety Sulu with 5 A's, 3 K's, a bunch of
I
umlauts,
I've
and
never seen
normally
a
I can
language without vowels before. Good
yeah.
job, guys.
I
Yeah,
can figure things out
yeah.
often just by looking at it and go, "Okay, I think
Mhm.
that's this word, this word." There are some, like the Cyrillic languages when I was in, the Czech Republic that
Right.
are really,
They're
really
just
difficult.
enough different that yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, I think, on the last episode, the importance of downloading offline
Yes.
maps in whatever you're using, Google
Same with
Maps.
the translate.
Same with the translator because and in this case, what you're downloading are the languages, right? Because you want those things offline so that if you are not connected or not connected well, it will still work.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan, and it's not because I worked at Microsoft. I actually tried the Google one. I'm not a fan of the Apple one. It's not where it needs to be yet.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
using what used to be Bing Translator, it's now Microsoft
Mhm.
Translate, and it has that same feature, which is great. When I go to a restaurant, I'll just pull it down, and they'll say, "What do you want?" And I'll look, and you
Yeah,
just hit the little
that
button.
live view where you're looking at the
Yeah.
menu and in the screen it's showing you in your language is
Yep.
astonishing.
That one's huge.
Yeah.
The second one is it has just a ready to translate, which is really nice. They also have one where you can just sort of it keeps track of everything that you did, and then they also have the view where you can take a picture of a menu and have it translate,
Yes.
which is great because that has kept me from
Mhm.
ordering some things I definitely would not have wanted to order. You can also save you can create a phrase book with your favorite
Mhm.
phrases in it, which is really nice.
Nice.
I do have it translate profane words into recognized speech. That's something important. If somebody's telling me to F off, I wanna know,
Yep.
etcetera, but,
Yep.
I found this one to be really good and very reliable and pretty accurate, and
Mhm.
I've been a big fan of it, but I don't think it matters which one you use. I think it is about making the effort, and that is a respect thing, and I
I
think that that's a really critical aspect of this.
so because you just said this, you and I, we went to our favorite place nearby, the tamale place,
Yeah,
Donna's Los Tamales, and we had breakfast here yesterday, and right behind us was an American couple who didn't even say gracias. Like
right.
they
Yeah,
it
the
was
basics.
100% English to Spanish speakers who, yes, I mean some tourists come there, I guess, but it's not a big tourist place, and just respectful.
Yeah,
The basics are so important, and like you said, that you nailed it. Just try, just trying is
right.
so meaningful and so respectful, and is the right thing to do.
Yeah, and even
You're
if
not
they
going to be able
kinda
to get the
laugh
whole
at you
thing.
at the pronunciation of
Yes.
things, you're still making the effort, and it's a laugh, but they're not laughing at you. They're like, every place has got different ways of
So
you
I
have Des Moines, Iowa, and in Montana, you have Des Moines,
Des
and I'm like,
Moines.
"Really?" Yeah, and they call it Des Moines. In Ohio, there's a city called Lima. It's not Lima. It's spelled like
Yes.
lima bean, but it's Lima.
Lima as part of
So
the South American
right, yeah,
capital.
so
Yeah.
we all have that, but yeah, I think it's great. The other one that I'm a big fan of, and since we have a little bit of time, is there's
Mhm.
a great app called, and I wanna make sure I get the name right, but it's another thing I use when I travel called XE, and it's a currency exchange app.
Oh yeah,
And that's another big one that I love because first time I went to Mexico, I'm like millions of,
I know.
pesos for things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I have no clue how much this is. And then you go, oh, it's 13 bucks, whatever. But it also
Right.
lets you know, like, hi, I'm doing a tour and they're taking me to the spot that they're going to get kickbacks and they want to charge me $90 for this. And if I just waited to buy it when I got there, I'd buy
It's
it from the
something you can
local
do. Yeah.
vendors for 15
Yeah.
bucks. So yeah, that's a really good one to take a look at what things cost because then when you bring it to your own
Mhm.
currency, it's really good. And again, you can preload those currencies. You can have multiple currencies. It's up to date.
Right.
in doing that. And then the other thing is, do you want to use cash or credit card? Depending on your credit card, they will charge you what the current exchange rate is for that
Mhm.
day. So that's something else that you can take a look at too, where sometimes cash is better, other times credit card's better. But
Mhm.
looking at those prices and figuring out what that is really key because it gets really difficult to do those translations in your head.
4 years later, I still every time I get a bill in a restaurant or I look something up on Amazon here, I have that moment where I'm like, "Hey, oh, right,
Yeah,
divide by 20. Okay, that's not that bad."
right.
But the first time you see it, it's in tens of thousands or thousands, and you're like, "Oh, no, that's fine." You know, I'm bad at math.
Absolutely. So, the other cool thing now is Gemini
Mhm.
I've now is become the AI app in my iPhone. You have a programmable button. I've set it for
Yes.
Gemini. And I love that when I travel because I can take a picture of something when I'm there and go,
Mhm.
"Hi, what is this?" And it will go, "Hi, it's this, and here's the background on it," and it will link me into
Right.
links. So when I'm traveling, I like it when I'm looking at a building or looking at something, I can just hold it up, I click the button, and it gives me now a background on it. What am I
Mhm.
looking at? What's the history? Who did it? It works across art, it works in buildings, things like that. And I'm really curious to see over the next few years as we see, smart glasses are now offering translation. The Meta glasses do it live as you're looking at it and
Yep.
things like that. How technology, AI, and these tools are gonna change how we travel when
I
when you look
yeah.
at something, it's automatically giving you a background history. You look at a restaurant, it's telling you, "Hi, here's openings," or "Here's the menu," and it's automatically translating it for you, things like that.
This
How that's
is
gonna change travel.
transformational. We first started going to Europe like probably 35 years ago, but it wasn't until I guess 25 years ago we started going a lot and then with the kids. And I remember early on saying to my wife, like, the thing that's going to put this over the top is when I can just come here with my phone and use it and it just works. And now we have that. And of course,
Right.
that's gotten a lot faster. But yeah, this language stuff and the ability for it to happen automatically in kind of a Babel fish way, right? From
Yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy or whatever.
Yeah, no.
Um, it's,
Or in maps, clicking and saying, "Show me around," so I know what this building looks like
yep,
and what's near it,
it's
so I can check
transformational.
it.
And
Yeah.
kind of the flip side of what you were just talking about is you're home still and you see a picture of some place that's amazing. And you could put that into Gemini or anything that can do image
Yeah.
recognition and say, "Where is this?" And it
Right.
will tell you where it is, right? But yeah, it goes in both directions. I mean, AI, obviously, you want to do fact checking and all that kind of stuff, but the capabilities are astonishing now. And this is going to
It
be
really
the
is.
next level of, advancement in this stuff. It's really, really important not to ignore it.
Yeah, and, the other thing is if you're on a unique diet, there's things you're allergic to, stuff like that. It's great just to point at the menus and go,
Mhm.
"Hi," where you can confirm the phrase, "Can I confirm there are no mushrooms in this?" If you're
Or
allergic to
confirm the
mushrooms or
phrase, "I
whatever.
just wanna make sure that says brains, right?" "Yeah, no, I don't
Right,
want
or yeah,
that."
eels
Yeah,
or
or whatever,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
Yep.
had I've had some interesting things in different parts of the world, especially when I get up into the Norway, those
Yes.
areas. The diet is definitely a little bit different,
Where they're
but it's great to
curing,
look at that ahead of
fish
time, yeah, and
inside of,
go, "Hi, is this really smoked eel with raw
yeah.
egg or whatever?" And be
Mhm.
able to check that out, but you're becoming an informed and educated tourist and a respectful tourist, and I think that's really at the core, is do
Mhm.
your research before, know what you wanna do, come prepared with these tools, find out what it costs you. AT&T is a deal where it's $10 a day to use your phone overseas, and it's unlimited
Right.
everything. T-Mobile is different deals.
Well, we gotta do a
Find out what
whole
that's gonna be.
we'll definitely do shows about that kinda stuff. So, 'cause
Yeah,
there are data sims you can get in other countries, and there's a
right.
whole world of options
Sims
there.
and stuff
Yeah.
you can do and things like that, but yeah.
Yep.
So we'll dig into that, but again, tell us what apps you're using,
Mhm.
what have you done to make travel easier? How has your phone changed the way you travel? We would love to hear that, and, yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up Best Translate app. This is, episode 6, I believe, so we're getting there. We got a lot of other cool stuff to do.
Yeah, we do.
Alright.
Well, thank you,
I'm
sir.
Stephen Rose.
I'm Paul Thurrott. See you next
Thanks
time.
for joining us, yeah. We'll see you in our next episode from Seattle, Washington, and from Mexico City. We bid you
Mhm.
adieu, and we'll see you real, real soon. Take care, everybody.